All right, Indianapolis in the Arca car. Gonna run 16 to 1, minus 12 and 60. And then we'll put it down to 57. I do want as low brake bias as possible because those corner entries can get really tight. So this is a pretty cool track. Oh yeah, I gotta go this way. Pro tip. Gonna be a first lap, hot lap. We're gonna try 2 laps, I guess, if the first one doesn't go well. But your tires should heat up just from this out lap enough to run first lap pretty successfully. That's usually how it goes with tracks that are longer than 1.5 miles. So the theme of this lap is going to be just getting to the bottom and getting there early in 1 and 2, and then arcing it a little bit more in 3 and 4. Because 1 and 2, it's just good just to wrap the bottom, let the car do the work for you. Then 3 and 4 is where you really want to maximize that momentum. So we're going to take it a little bit wider, kind of point it down to the bottom, make a straight line exit. Turn 4 is a little bit sketchier than turn 2 in terms of the looseness, how loose the car gets. And you just don't want to overdrive 1 and 3. Very easy to do. Smooth off the throttle, get down here with the brake. Back on the throttle, try to get a good run off the corner. Then turn 2, we take it a little wider. Left side's aimed at the white line. Just try to get back on full throttle. Very good. Turn 3 again, no overdriving. Smooth off the throttle. Point the car, trail brake to the bottom. Get back on the throttle, just roll it right here on the bottom. Very good. Then last, we're going to widen out the corner a little bit. Hold that half throttle, try to get a late apex. Straight off the corner, it's going to slide up a little bit more than turn 2, but very comfortable there. Great lap. Good job, me. And there we go. Don't need that second lap. Maybe you can go a 10th faster than that if you're perfect. Maybe 2. There's a lot of room for improvement at places like Indy because there's 4 like skill testing corners instead of 2. Let's take a look at turn 1 here. Turn 4 I'm not going to go over on the out lap because it's really just driven like turn 4 in our actual lap. Because we're really just... The goal of both the end, the out lap and the end of lap 1 is to maximize your speed off the corner. That's just how long Indianapolis is. So let's see, what even is my... I don't even know my own break point. I guess right before this stoplight here, but notice what I do. Smooth off the throttle, then aim the car early at the white line, trail the brake, no more than 20, and then just use whatever steering wheel you have to get it to that white line. You can be a little bit below it if you want. I just like, it's pretty safe to get it right on that line. And again, just force the throttle once you get the weight to shift. How do you know the weight's shifting? Well, it's when your car goes from handling tight to handling neutral and or loose. You can force the steering wheel a little bit on hot lap to induce that weight shift, but just know that if you do that during the race, that's extra tire wear that you don't need to be doing. So I induced, you see how I induce a little bit of wheel right here, right as I get on the throttle to get the car to rotate. And you can tell that I got the car to rotate with that extra steering wheel because now my car is getting loose and now my wheel is heading back towards the center even though we're on corner exit. So it's okay to induce a little bit of rotation with the steering wheel for hot lap as long as it gets us loose on the throttle. Very good. Turn 2. Little grip flick there. It's not as much, don't think of it as a flick as much as it's, I want to point my car as quick as possible at the white line, but I don't really want to turn in just yet. So that flick points the car directly at that white line, but I don't necessarily want to be turning in until late, because remember, I want to late arc the corner into turn 2. This line's a little bit deceiving. We can actually dip a little bit below this white line. Right there. Let's see how close I got with the left front. So yeah, right, oh yeah, look at that, right on the line. You can go probably a little bit lower than that, but I guess that's just where I was comfortable going. So a little bit late apex. Again, instead of trailing the brake in 3 and 4, we just need to hold half throttle. So in place of what you do with trail brake in turns 1 and 3, do half throttle in 2 and 4. So half throttle, get the car to rotate under half throttle. Now once you get the car to settle, it's about right before where the curb is, I usually find. That's when I get my car to settle enough to where I can full throttle and it's not going to get tight on me. That's just all I'm looking for. If you're throttling the car and it's getting tight on you, you're mistiming something, okay? But you can see that because I got on the throttle so early, I'm able to carry a ton of speed down the straight. Turns 3 and 4, honestly, they feel a lot like 1 and 2, except for the exit of 4. Get it down early. Once the car is able to weight shift, we get on the throttle. A little bit closer to the curb this time, but you can see how tidy it made my exit. Take a look at that one more time. So brake at the... So I get off the throttle, start the banking transition. As I start coming down the track, I get on that trail brake. And then I aim for just a bit above the curb. Again, get back on the throttle, and the car should not feel tight. It should feel neutral to loose. And then back up the track. And finally, same technique as turn 2. Flick, half throttle, let the car come down to the curb, and then pick up the throttle once it's down to the curb. Turn 4 is going to have less grip than turn 2 just because of how the track is. So be a little more careful forcing that full throttle on turn 4. Make sure your steering wheel is even straighter off of 4 than you would need it off of 2. Okay? So, down the banking transition, half throttle, bring it down to the curb, hold it, start slowly bringing it up, then full throttle when you can make the wheel mostly straight. Long run, honestly, not much is different here. We're going to be taking mostly the same lines. The only big difference is that I'm not going to be forcing any wheel input in the middle of corners. I'm going to do as much of the work on entry as possible. I'll do a few laps here. But 20 laps here, tires become a little bit of a factor, but they're not like a mega factor. Like you could run qual laps if you're doing it the way that I was describing it just now, and you honestly don't really need to worry about tires too much. As long as you're getting to the bottom every time. Once you really start killing your stuff is when you start missing the bottom. Just the longer that you can keep the car on the line, the better you're going to be on your tires. It doesn't really matter how hard you're pushing. So early, see, that was a little bit of an overcook. So now you see how I'm turning my wheel more because I had basically gotten the brakes late. So 1 and 3, that's going to be the hardest part for you guys. It's just don't overdrive 1 and 3. You need to be pointed at the line before the banking starts. And then you use your trail brake to lock it in. So point early, trail brake to lock it in, get all the way at the bottom, then we can get back on the throttle. Beautiful. That's like a perfect tire saving turn 3 there. And turn 4, all we gotta do is just make sure we keep it on the line as long as possible, and we should be fine there. If you carry too much throttle into 4, you can start hurting the tires as well. Just make sure that your car agrees with you that it wants to come down to the line. So we're not gonna overdrive this time. Perfect. Got on the throttle a little too early. Now you see how my car slid up there? So it wasn't slow, but you can see how, because I was not staying on the line long enough, that creates more wear and heat in my tires. Oh gosh darn it. A little sloppy here. But the things I'm explaining are better than the things that I'm showing at this point. So point early, slow out of the throttle, get the car rotated and staying on the white line. That's perfect. 3 and 4. A little more of an arc just so that we can rely less on that rear tire on exit. You can see how loose it got even when we took it a little bit straighter there. We'll do one more lap here. I know these laps are pretty long. So early, get it all the way down and then just keep it down there. Don't be eager to bring it back up off the white line. Nice, that's perfect. Then half throttle to bring it down. If the half throttle is still overcooking your entry, maybe bring it even further down than half. Maybe like a quarter. Maybe you just let out earlier. That's probably the easier option. Probably the better on the tires option is to let out earlier. Easy up throttle, smooth. Right on the curb. Park it down there. Nice. And off throttle early, get the car down here. Let the car try to stay on the bottom and then push it when you can get the wheels straight. So same principles as what we were doing on the qualifying lap, but now we just have to make sure that we keep our tires under us even more, and we make sure that we hit our marks every time. As long as you're getting to the bottom and the car is not arguing with you and you're getting there early, especially in turns 1 and 3, you can see 98, 97. I'm more worried about right front at Indianapolis for the most part, so that's a good sign to start out with. All right, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.